Corroborating last week's Xbox Scorpio rumors that we talked about, Ars Technica reports that it has received word from at least one major developer making a virtual reality game scheduled for release on Xbox One as well as PC and PS4 in 2017. Fueling that Oculus fire.
So I didn't know this either, and then when you started reading that, I was like, oh, I'm so sick of talking about this new goddamn hardware, and then I was like, wait, what?
You guys just bear with me. Yeah. Take a walk with me on this one, Alana. Okay. It's fine.
Oh, so it gets less exciting?
No, it stays exciting. It gets even more exciting.
It's all good.
It's still exciting.
The developer in question has not been revealed, but it is a, quote, well-known European studio planning a game in a, quote, established long-running franchise.
European studio.
European studio that is known in a known franchise, long-running franchise. And as I said, the game is also due for release PC and PS4. Marty.
This game may have already been announced.
Really?
Yes.
This might be the Battlefront VR thing that we know is coming to PSVR.
Oh, really?
Yes. I mean, it could be.
That's
a long-running franchise. That's a European developer.
That's a European developer.
I thought about DICE too, except that Battlefront isn't a long-running franchise, really.
I mean, there's three of them over the past 15 years.
For the purposes of this, it counts. Like, I mean, I think that would be kind of misleading, but yeah, it counts.
That was my first thought. When you read the sentence, that was my first thought. Yeah. Granted, this could be a bunch of different things, but you have some different ideas.
Who else could it be?
So the couple that came to mind for me, and this one, so I'll give you one that's probably realistic and one that's a little out there. The realistic one, which I don't know if Ghost counts as a well-known European studio, but they make Need for Speed now, and there's no Need for Speed this year. So next year, there almost certainly will be. Could it be a VR-ified Need for Speed game?
Yeah, I mean, Project Cars works perfectly in VR. That's possible.
Rare Banjo-Kazooie.
And then the
in
other
VR.
one, the
like
other
Lucky's
one,
Tale?
the crazy one I thought of was CD Projekt Red, well-known. They're also mad coding geniuses. Could there be a VR-ified Witcher 3 sort of like Game of the Year compilation thing?
I think that would be very hard.
I don't think they do that.
They seem to relish the challenge.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, when they announced the PSVR theater mode, I'm not sure if it's called that for PSVR. Do you know, Marty?
I believe it's called theater or cinema mode.
That's what it's called in
one of the two.
VR,
one of them's on PC, one of them.
Yeah.
But
you watch movies.
It's basically that I've tried it on Vive, and you put the headset on, and you just feel like you're in a cinema because you see a
bunch of seats.
A very large screen, basically, and it's just one giant screen that it's so weird to think that it's actually very small because it's right on your face, but it seems huge, and you can roll back in your chair and be further away from the screen. And when that was first announced, a lot of people kind of just assumed that it would mean that any PS4 game would work in VR, but it doesn't. And if it were that easy to just port over, then I think a lot of people would be doing it. But I feel like you have to develop a game from the start for VR for it to work in VR, and The Witcher is huge.
Doing it in the fashion you're talking about is also like the crappy way to do it. It's just like you're in a theater and there's a big screen.
They
you
don't
can play
have to do
the
anything,
game.
Is my point. So it's like if it were easier to do, then they wouldn't have those theater modes at all, right? They would just be able to like put it in VR. The theater mode and the cinema mode wouldn't even need to exist in the first place. They would just make it actual VR.
Yeah.
How hard would it be to adapt? I mean, you just put one in each eye, and you got to be able to move around. The FPS has to be
coding genius, Destin Legary.
The FPS has to be very high, though, and I think that's where Witcher would like.
Could be like I don't know how it works, and maybe we should look into interviewing someone about it. But
it has to be
imagine
60 or higher per eye, otherwise you get sick.
I just said that.
I know.
I think
adding you get sick if it's not.
I think much more likely than that, it's Ubisoft, either Paris or Montpellier, doing an Assassin's Creed thing, like an auxiliary component to next year's game. Because we know Ubisoft is...
Animus is basically virtual reality.
And Ubisoft has already shown a handful of VR games with Eagle's Flight and Werewolves Within.
Werewolves Within is amazing.
The Eagle Flight was not awful. It has a very nice scrawl noise.
Awful.
Very great scrawl noise.
That game is entirely birds going scrawl, and then when you have someone shoot something at you, it goes bah, 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 bah. So it's scrawl, bah, bah, bah.
Which sounds amazing.
Terrible.
That's what techno music's like.
So
I got
bad.
to kill Palmer Luckey in that game numerous times. That's the only time I'll ever be able to beat a billionaire in something.
Brought to Xbox, but can we also talk
they said
about
a long-running
Mirror's
franchise?
Edge. Who's making Mirror's Edge?
DICE. Also, if you try to play that in VR, you would die.
Blah.
You would vomit everywhere.
Oh, that would be incredible.
I mean,
Except it's not a
Played it.
long-running franchise.
There was one other one a few
was a
years
bubble
ago.
yeah.
Long running.
But we should also talk about how this would work.
Literally, I see where you're going with that.
That was really dumb.
Oh my God! What if
Very
it's just
smart.
a play on words, and it is Mirror's Edge? That'd be great.
Long running, guys. Get it? You're
Or it's
that's
like Dying
false
Light.
advertising. We're suing you. But we should talk about how this is going to work. Like, I feel like I've been saying for a few months now that I think Oculus is eventually going to be compatible with Xbox One, and I want that so bad. Is that what this means?
That's what they're
Well,
working towards. It has
seems
to be,
like
right?
it.
Yeah.
I mean, the Polygon and Kotaku rumors that we talked about last week, they're the outlets that broke all this. They had reported that it was just talks between Oculus and Microsoft. So this could be a developer that's simply planning ahead, maybe, and just kind of like, all right, well, the code bases are similar enough. Let's just assume this is going to happen. Could mean a number of different things, but
Do we believe this source?
I mean, I think we're
it's
all
ours.
trustworthy?
Yeah,
it's
Ars
Ars
Technica
Technica.
is-
They're legit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, yeah, I think we all assume that by the end of this console generation,
They're going into
Oculus
it,
will
yes.
work on
Yes.
whatever the Xbox One is.
Yeah.
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 I finally
Yeah.
tried the retail version. It's great.
Of Oculus?
Yeah, I was so
super
hesitant
It
to
is
try
really
it because
good.
the first two versions that we got in the office made me sick.
Oh yeah,
Right,
totally.
me too.
You know,
Me too.
Oh, yeah,
and then I tried
we were
retail,
playing
and I was
Half-Life.
like, oh, thank God, they
Yeah,
finally got
it's
it.
much
You know?
better.
Yep.
Yeah. Oculus is fantastic.